I thank our public for their support, our community for the support, and know that we will bring these two into justice.
And we might just be one step closer to justice as we come on the air. A lot to unpack here, but we want to start with these two people on your screen who police say are responsible for this crime today that happened in the city of Monroe. They were warning the public to be on high alert and considered them to be armed and dangerous. I want you to check out this photo that was just sent into our newsroom within the last 5 minutes, if we have it. This shows the suspect's vehicle, that stolen truck that apparently just crashed after a lengthy pursuit. Here it is. You see that truck on your screen. A lengthy pursuit going down Interstate 75 involving Ohio State Highway Patrol and other law enforcement agencies. They had been negotiating with the suspects in that truck for a very long time, trying to get them to surrender. That pursuit allegedly exceeded speeds of 100 miles an hour and featured gunshots coming out of that suspect vehicle. You see the Lifeline chopper there also on the scene. This whole thing started earlier in the afternoon at the Highlander Market on East Front Street in the city of Monroe. And again, moments ago, we learned that the suspects here in that victim's stolen pickup truck led police on a pursuit down Interstate 75. We don't know exactly where it started, but we know where it ended here on State Route 15 near Township Road 240, just southeast of Findlay. We have new viewer video into our newsroom tonight showing that chase. Again, it exceeded speeds of 100 miles an hour at times and went through some work zones. We don't know if any other vehicles were hit during this pursuit, but law enforcement sources tell us that the suspects didn't surrender after they crashed, and they had to bring in some extra resources to try and get them out of that truck. At last check, again, they were still trying to get them to give up. We're working right now to get some new information about whether or not that standoff has ended. Zane, you were at that crime scene earlier tonight, and you have some new reporting on this to share for us.
Josh, investigators tell us this looks like it was a random attack that started as a robbery at that Highlander Market. The City of Monroe Director of Public Safety, Chad Tolstead, tells me the two suspects robbed the convenience store at around 3:30 this afternoon. No one was hurt inside, but once the suspect came outside, they confronted three men sitting at a truck. The suspects then opened fire at one of the men outside the truck. The person inside the truck then exited out and tried to walk away. One of the suspects then shot him in the back. He then proceeded to shoot another passenger inside the truck before fleeing the area. Police say one person was killed. We're still working to confirm their identity, but family members were at the scene when I was there earlier today. The other person who was shot was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. At last check, they are still in critical condition. Tolstead tells me he does not believe the suspects knew the victims who were shot.
Unfortunately, this didn't seem to be just a simple, like, a carjacking. This seemed to be an intent to kill and murder people is what we have preliminary, so which makes this even scarier. These gentlemen did what they were supposed to do. They didn't fight back. They were willing to give up the car. That's what makes this thing so horrific.
As we mentioned just moments ago, authorities tell us police in Ohio were involved in a pursuit with the suspects down I-75 South before crashing. They're actively trying to get the suspects to come out of the vehicle at this hour. Of course, we'll keep you posted as we continue to learn more.
This afternoon, about 3:30, we had a robbery of the Highlander Market.
According to Chad Tolstead, the director of public safety for Monroe, these two suspects robbed the Highlander Market in the middle of the afternoon Saturday. They then went outside the store and held up the driver and passenger of this blue Ford F-150. The driver and the passenger, two men named Michael Ronald Beck Jr. and Adam, cooperated with the suspects, but still the suspects
Then shot that driver in the back. The passenger was then shot several times, unknown reason. It appears at this time they were shot for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
31-year-old Michael, a father to two young children, died at the scene. Adam, also a father, died at the hospital. Their childhood friend, Antoinette Daly, tells me that she saw the two suspects who killed them at the local splash pad just an hour earlier when one of them tried to talk to her friend.
He popped down on the ground doing push-ups, still had the black Puma hat. I got a bad vibe from him because he just looked like he had the wrong intention to talk to somebody.
Michael's mom and sister tell me they heard about the tragedy from police.
It's every mom's worst nightmare.
He was the oldest out of all of us.
Who does this in the broad daylight? This is completely out of character.
Monroe police say the two suspects are still on the loose and considered armed and dangerous. We know that Michael was engaged to be married. He leaves behind his large family, including a 7-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son.
Hancock County grand jury has indicted 2 men after a deadly carjacking and chase through Findlay. Driver Stephen Jones is charged with felonious assault and failure to comply. Jones was still in the hospital at last check. His passenger, Ronnie Oliver, faces 1 count of felonious assault. Now, these are just the charges from after the pair crashed in Hancock County Saturday.
1030 East Front Street, 1030 East Front Street. We had a panic alarm come through.
The scanner call that started it all.
Now we're getting reports of a blue Ford F-150. Someone shot out of that truck and then left in it.
Monroe police telling 13 Action News 44-year-old Ronnie Oliver and 29-year-old Stephen Jones robbed the Highlander Market around 3:30 Saturday afternoon. No one inside the convenience store was hurt, but then
inside the Highlander Market, we got another victim not breathing.
Oliver and Jones opening fire at 3 men outside the store, killing 1 and seriously injuring another. Police identifying the man who died as Michael Ronald Beck Jr. Officials say Oliver and Jones then carjacked the vehicle and fled. Officers spotting the pair on I-75 South near Bowling Green, leading Ohio State Highway Patrol on a chase.
He shot one at me.
Shots fired.
Speed 113. When you have the chance, you need to take him out as hard as possible.
Before crashing and being apprehended near Findlay.
Crashing out. He's still in the ditch.
According to Michigan court records, Jones was put on parole on August 1st. He was also arrested and charged with assault with intention of great bodily harm, as well as home invasion of the 2nd degree in 2018. Meanwhile, Oliver was convicted of robbing a bank in Washtenaw County, Michigan in 2001. He was released in 2021 after serving his 20-year sentence. No one from the Monroe Public Safety Division was available for comment when I reached out Monday, but when I spoke to the public safety director, he called the incident a senseless act. Oliver is currently booked in the Hancock County Jail, while Jones was taken to the hospital with injuries police describe as serious. As for the other man who was shot at the Highlander Market, at last check, he's still in critical condition.
He shot one at me.
Shots fired.
Speed 113. When you have the chance, you need to take him out as hard as possible. He's crashing out. He's still in the ditch.
Those tense moments from police dispatch audio. High-speed pursuit in Hancock County. This one ended when the suspect's truck crashed into that ditch, but troopers say they didn't surrender at first. The suspects shot at officers multiple times during the chase. Ohio State troopers returned fire. Troopers say they spotted the suspects at a rest stop in Bowling Green where that pursuit started. And tonight we are learning more about the suspects. 44-year-old Ronnie Oliver from Ann Arbor is locked up in the Hancock County Jail tonight on several felony charges. Police say he was the passenger in that truck. The driver, identified as 29-year-old Stephen Jones, was taken to the hospital, listed in serious condition. Monroe County officials said that he was shot Saturday night. He was flown to the hospital. We're also learning more about the victims of that deadly carjacking tonight. Police calling it a horrific random attack. Those 2 victims simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Police tell us the suspects shot at somebody outside the store and missed, then ordered Beck and the other man in the truck to get out. That's when police say both men were shot. The 34-year-old was rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Beck's mother and sister say they heard about the tragedy from police.
Sorry, Mom's worst nightmare. He was the oldest out of all of us. His babies will never be able to see him again. My kid didn't deserve this. Nobody does. This is unfair. Hug your people tighter, for sure.
Haven't provided an update on the other man's condition who was shot or the suspect who was flown to the hospital.
He had 2 children, ages 7 and 3. He had just celebrated his 31st birthday less than 2 weeks ago. Michael's mom describes the moment police told her that her son was dead.
He was like, well, please sit down. I was like, tell me. So I sat on the edge of the chair. And he's like, I'm sorry, we have bad news. And I was like, it's him, isn't it? That's my son down there. And he goes, yes. And I lost it after that. Couldn't talk.
Her eldest son, Michael Beck, was shot and killed while sitting in a friend's truck outside of a market that had just been robbed in Monroe Saturday afternoon.
Everybody in this house tried to stop me and tell me I didn't need to go. I didn't need to be down there. I didn't need to see it. I did.
Shannon stayed on scene from 7 at night until 2 in the morning to identify her son's body before authorities took him away.
Yes, I saw my baby dead on the ground, but it stopped my thinking and it let me process of what I had to do next.
This isn't something any family should have to go through, any sibling, anything. Like, it sucks and it's devastating and it hurts, and I don't know.
Michael's family says knowing the men that allegedly killed him were caught brings them solace.
It brings some kind of comfort because who knows what these people could have done, where they could have went, whose other lives they could have taken, who they could have hurt. I'm glad they were caught. They deserve a lot more than what they're gonna end up getting. And it sucks.
The deadly carjacking in Monroe and a police chase and shootout in Ohio has now learned his fate. In December, Stephen Jones pleaded no contest in connection to a robbery, shooting, and a police chase that killed Michael Beck Jr. and injured another man. Police say that Jones and a man named Ronnie Oliver robbed the Highlander Market in Monroe, then opened fire on 3 men who were outside the store in September of 2023. The pair then carjacked a vehicle and took off. Police caught up with them on I-75 near Bowling Green, and that chase ended in a crash near Findlay. The Ohio State Highway Patrol says the men then fired multiple shots at officers during the chase, who returned fire.
Aviation.
This is a classic case of 2 old school criminals thinking that they can bring 90s crimes way up here in 2025. Notice that the black guy, Ronnie, he just got out of prison from doing a 20 ball. A 20 ball. And the first thing come to your head is to go rob a convenience store and shoot and kill 2 people. And yeah, killed 2 people because the other victim died as well. And from the looks of it, I'm willing to bet you they didn't even get nothing from robbing that store, probably $40, $50 or something like that. But I'm glad they got these 2 reckless cowards off the streets. This family can grieve in peace. And knowing that one of the suspects got 40 years and the other guy is facing over 100 years, it won't bring your loved ones back, but it'll definitely make things a lot easier. It'll definitely make it easier for you to rest that night. R.I.P. to the victims, and may hard time find you 2 clowns. Until next time. Thank you for watching Prime Crime Network, your source for urban and suburban and around the world news. Hit the subscribe, like, and the notification bell